What if your experience could become your retirement plan? What if everything you've learned could replace the job that's draining you? What if the life you've lived could become your own business? Scratch the what ifs. This is already happening for women just like you. And today, we're talking about how. Hi, I'm Trish, and this is Just a Number, the podcast for women 40 and up who are ready to stop waiting and start building from everything they already know. Part business, part unlearning, part confidence reset. Because you're not starting over, you're evolving with intention. We're talking lived experience, career wisdom, passions, and hard-earned perspective, turned into content, courses, and offers that actually help people. We're not here to play by the rules. Let's build boldly, teach what we know, and make it count. Welcome to Just a Number. Hey, welcome back. I want to ask you something before we dive in. What if the thing you've spent your life doing, not just your job, but the thing you're passionate about, the thing you've lived through and figured out, what if that's worth something? Not just emotionally, financially. What if your experience isn't just your past? What if it's actually your retirement plan? Some of you have had careers. Some of you have stayed home. Some of you have done both, often at the same time. But somewhere along the way, you became really good at something. You know things. You've lived things. And there are people out there who would pay to learn from you. They just haven't found you yet. So what is actually going on? Because a lot of you are feeling something and maybe just haven't quite found the words to describe it yet. You're good at what you do, whether that's a career you've built over decades, a passion you've poured yourself into, or a life that required you to figure out things most people never have to deal with. You know you're good. But something isn't filling you up the way it used to. The job has gotten smaller, even as your experience has gotten bigger. You're the one people come to when something goes sideways. You're the one who's seen it all before, who quietly holds things together. And somehow that still doesn't show up in your paycheck, your title, or your schedule the way you thought it would by now. And the world isn't making it easier. Companies are restructuring around AI. Layoffs are hitting people who did everything right. Small businesses are downsizing. And women over 40 are getting squeezed from both ends. Too experienced for some roles, not current enough for others. We covered a lot of this in episode 1, and the data is truly eye-opening if you haven't listened yet. What that means financially is real. When a job disappears or a role quietly shrinks, it doesn't just affect today's paycheck. It affects your retirement. It affects what you thought the next decade was going to look like. And it hits women over 40 harder than most because the path back is a lot narrower than it used to be. And maybe you're watching people around you, they might be younger people, get recognized and compensated for things you've been doing for years. You don't begrudge them, but there's something in you that knows. I've been doing this longer, deeper, and with more at stake, and I'm still waiting for it to pay off. For some of you, it's not about work at all. It's a passion. Something you've spent years getting better at, going deeper into, not because anyone asked you to, but because it's yours. And somewhere along the way, you started wondering whether the thing that lights you up could also be the thing that actually pays you. Then those doubts show up. We have this repeating loop playing in our heads saying, I'm too old to start something new. Nobody would pay me for what I know. Who am I to think I could even do something like that? Trust me, you're not burnt out because you stopped caring. You're burnt out because you care deeply, and the container you're in is too small for what you've become. Most of us were handed one model for how money works. You trade time for a paycheck. Someone else decides what that's worth. And you hope it's enough and that it keeps coming. That model has a ceiling. And right now, with everything shifting the way it is, a lot of women are hitting that ceiling hard. But here's something most of us never stop to question. We've been taught that experience and money go together in one very specific way. And that equation is actually pretty broken. We've been taught that experience only counts if someone paid us for it. It came with a job title, a performance review, a salary. And if it doesn't fit that mold, if it happened at home, maybe in a volunteer role, or in the years you spent becoming an expert in something because you had to, or because you loved it, we discount it. We call it a hobby. We call it just being a mom. We call it just something I do. That's not how value works. That's just how institutions work. And institutions are not the authority on what you're worth. Your experience counts. All of it. Whether someone cut you a check for it or not. Remember, you don't need to create something from scratch. You already have it. What you need is to package it. People don't just buy information anymore. Let's face it, we can get information anywhere at any hour for free. What they actually pay for is someone who's been through it and can say, I get it. I've done this. Let me save you from the part that almost broke me. It's the transformation that makes the difference. And that person, that's you. That's what this show is all about. How to take what you already have and turn it into something real, something that pays you. Sometimes we hear something that sounds inspiring, it sounds good, and then immediately go, okay, but that's not me. My situation's different. What I know isn't the kind of thing people pay for. So let me just take a second and show you what this actually looks like, because these women are all completely different, and that's exactly the point. Take the woman who spent 25 years as an HR director. When she got tired of doing it for someone else, she didn't go back to school. She didn't reinvent herself. She took exactly what she already knew: how to navigate conflict, manage difficult people, hold an organization together, and started offering consulting calls to small business owners who were drowning in the same problems she'd solved 100 times before. No website, no logo, just her expertise and a calendar link. Now, she didn't replace her salary overnight, but she got her first paying clients fast because the knowledge was already there. The only thing that changed was who she was selling it to. Then there's the woman who went through a brutal divorce at 48 and rebuilt her finances, her confidence, and her identity from the ground up. When she came out the other side, other women kept finding her, asking her how she did it, where she even started. She didn't have a credential in navigating divorce. What she had was a map that other women desperately needed. She turned that into a coaching program, something she could sell, deliver, and grow on her own terms. And then there's the woman who spent a decade organizing her neighborhood, running fundraisers, building volunteer networks from nothing. No title, no corporate background, just 10 years of showing up and making things happen. Nonprofits now pay her to come in and teach exactly that. What was once unpaid became a consulting practice. 3 completely different women with 3 completely different paths. The same shift underneath all of it. They stopped letting someone else put a price on what they already know. And I'll add my own story in here. When I left my corporate work, I was fortunate to be able to replace my salary with my own clients. Not immediately, not without effort, but it happened. Then, over time, I added more client work and kept building. The income didn't come from a new idea. It came from the exact same expertise I'd already been using for someone else for over 20 years at that time. The difference was that I now owned that expertise. So let's bring this back to you. Think about the thing you know so well it feels completely obvious to you. The thing where someone is stuck and you already see the answer. Where do you do that? What is that space for you? What problems do you solve at work, at home, in your community that other people find impossible or overwhelming? What have you figured out over the years that took you a long time to learn and that someone out there is still in the middle of right now? Because that person is looking for exactly what you already know, and they're willing to pay for it. What's the thing you've done or lived or built that makes people say, you should really teach this? Those are not throwaway comments. That's people telling you what you have is valuable, that they would pay for it if they knew where to find you. You don't need one more year of experience. You don't need a new certification to prove what decades of living has already given you. You don't need to wait until you feel ready, because that feeling doesn't show up before you start. It shows up during. Whatever just came to mind, that's where it all starts. Building something from your expertise isn't just a passion project. It's a financial strategy. And right now, with the job market shifting the way it is, AI changing what companies need, layoffs hitting people who did everything right, small businesses pulling back, it might be one of the most important financial decisions you make. When you build something you own, the income doesn't disappear when a company restructures or a role gets eliminated. You're not at the mercy of someone else's budget. You're not waiting on a performance review to tell you what you're worth. You set the rate. You decide the hours. You build something that belongs to you, and that has real value to your financial future, including retirement. It doesn't have to replace everything overnight. Some women start part-time while they're still in their jobs. Others use it to supplement what they're already making. Some build it slowly until it's strong enough to stand on its own. There's no one right pace. The point is that every step forward is equity you're putting in your own pocket instead of someone else's. Your experience can become your retirement plan. It can replace the job that no longer makes you happy. It can become your own business or side gig built around your actual life. That's not something reserved for other people. It's available to you. The first step is simple. Get clear on what you know, who needs it, and what it could look like as an offer. That's what we dig into together here, episode by episode. You can also learn more about this on our website. It's linked in the show notes. You don't have to figure it all out today. You just have to decide you're done leaving it on the table. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you know a woman who needs to hear this, please send it to her. And if you're not following the show yet, do so now so you don't miss what's coming. I'll see you next time.